All right. Welcome again to another sunny someday of the one great I am awakening. I'm Chris Taylor, one of your hosts, and my brother and partner in spirit and in mind, Mr. Gregory Isaac Thomas, aka Sir T.
Yes,
What's
sir. Greetings.
going on?
How am I coming through? Me sound loud and clear?
To me, yes.
Look like me kind of lost and I can't feel it behind me, like you can't feel it around me. But anyway, we're here. It's another day to practice manifestation, another day to practice the art of lying to ourselves. Because that's what it is, Sir Chris. This thing that we do, you have to be able to deny what five senses is showing you and effectively lie to yourself. You have to look in at your wallet and not say nothing and say, I am wealthy. You have to feel sick as a dog and say, I am well.
He say, I am strong.
Let the weak say, I am strong. So effectively, you are lying to yourself and believing it. It's the only thing you should believe. Remember, sir, we don't do believing. We deal with knowledge, not belief. The only thing you should believe is your assumptions. When you assume, because you have to take your assumptions to be a fact. You have to make your assumptions a fact. So that's what we are here to do, and we will continue to do that. There is no relenting. All the days of my life, I can only speak for myself. I don't have an external God somewhere that I can call upon with my desires. So I have to turn to the Christ within. Because even from the parable book itself, it tells you Christ in you is your hope of glory. Not the Christ in a Jerusalem, not the Christ that is left in history. The one in you, Christ in you is your hope of glory. Not the Father in the sky, but the Father, I am in my Father and my Father is in me. That's the only Father I know of, the one in me. The other one I don't know. I don't know where to find him. I wouldn't even know where to look. So all the days of my life, speaking for myself, I will always have to turn in. Bob Marley have a thing where he say, open your eyes and look where. Normally when you open your eyes, not outside you look.
Look inside, look within.
They want to open your eyes and look within. Good. That's where we look. So Chris.
This is an interesting quote. Open your eyes and look within.
Yeah, man. Interesting, isn't it?
Right, yeah. I posted something yesterday that says spirituality awakens you while religion keeps you asleep with your eyes wide open, So, so means once you're looking outward, that is religion. Inward is spirituality. It is a mind science, as Reverend Ike would say. So we are not the flesh. We are the we are mind. We are we're consciousness, and so we have to live as what we really are. The outer expression is just a shell or a container,
Yes.
It would be crazy to look at a bottle and call it water. The water is inside. The bottle is just containing the essence, what is real, what is consumable, what is usable. And that's what we are in terms of the flesh, just a container containing our true essence, our spirit, our consciousness. You understand? And as you heard on the tape just now, we live in a world called 3D, and we also live in other dimensions, 4, 5, and beyond, simultaneously. So why that is this is a reflection of those dimensions. This is just a projection, a mirror, showing you what is really going on behind the scenes. You understand?
Yeah.
So nothing we see here or experience here is fact or is tangible permanently. It's a temporary thing. Means it can change at any time. As the tape also says, things change based on how you perceive it. And we're going to talk about that today with this tape. From Neville, AI tape, of course, as today's topic is titled, Your Fate, which is your fortune. But today's title is Your Fate Begins When Your Struggle to Manifest Ends. All right? When you stop struggling to manifest, that is really when you're in defeat. And basically, that's what that is saying. All right? So, going to get it started. And as you know, we're going to come back momentarily to, add some more lines or some more interpretations to what you're going to be here. But there's a lot of nuggets in this tape. So you might want to write some down where you can use for future reference. All right. So let's jump into this audio. And I really love these wise quotes audios. They are so revolutionary. What they do, they take the ancient knowledge and break it down into modern day language, where even a 4-year-old can pretty much comprehend what is going on. So they just add another layer to the message and make it, kind of simplify it for the masses. So, but they go deep at the same time in a lot of stuff that, was never really mentioned outrightly. So that's why I love listening to those wise quotes. But nonetheless, here we are. This is titled, this video, Effortless Wins. So today we're going to be focusing on, instead of using will and effort to manifest, we're just going to use assumptions. Okay? It says, discover the law of assumption, results without strain. All we have to do is assume. No effort, no will, not like that. All right, so take a listen. We'll be right back.
Assumptions harden into fact. The world echoes the state you dare to occupy. Look around you right now. Every object, every relationship, every circumstance in your life is not random. It is the hardened echo of a state you once dared or unconsciously agreed to assume. Neville Goddard declared with unwavering clarity, all that you could possibly need or desire is already yours. You require no helper, no external permission, no cosmic lottery. The instant you assume the end, you breathe life into its certainty, and reality has no choice but to comply. And yet, here is the paradox most miss. The moment you truly accept the end, you stop caring about the how. The burden drops. Anxiety dissolves. You become calm, indifferent even, to the possibility of failure, because acceptance of the end wills the means. Neville compared it to watching the final scene of a play. You know the hero triumphs, even if the earlier acts appear dark, confusing, or tragic. You may not see how the knots untangle, but the end is already secured.
So, Chris, something very important there. Are you hearing me?
Come on, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, man. Acceptance of the end wills the means. I'm sure we've all heard of a means to an end. A means to an end. Acceptance of the end wills the means. Once you accept the end, Once you accept the end, the means become unimportant. It doesn't matter if you have the thing, it doesn't matter where it come from. You're no longer struggling with that. So accepting the end cancels out the means completely. That is something very important to know. Do yourself a favor and cut that shortcut there. Take that shortcut there. Accept that shortcut. Accepting the end cancels out the means. Usually you have to have a means to an end. Go to the end, cut out the means. So Chris, you get it?
Yeah, man, I like what you said right there. Acceptance of the end will bring forth the means.
This is why the law of assumption is not.
Yeah, acceptance of the end will bring forth the means, meaning that the means is just the way, the how, whatever it takes is going to show up once you accept the end. That's what Neville did with Abdullah's teaching when he was going to Barbados. That was an acceptance of the end on Neville's part. It was first introduced to him by obviously, Abdullah, but he didn't accept it at the beginning. So that was interesting. He did not accept what Abdullah was saying. He thought it was madness because he questioned Abdullah, how am I in Barbados and I'm here in New York? So he was only accepting what his five senses were showing him. But once Abdullah reprimanded him by slamming the door shut and then argue with him and saying, you are in Barbados right now and you went there first class. And he slammed the door and leave Neville. So Neville couldn't argue anymore with his senses. He now had to accept what he was imagining instead with his mind's eye, his imagination. And so therefore, once he accepted that as the reality and not what he was seeing or experiencing outwardly, it is then the means became a reality. His brother sent him the ticket, and you know the story. And next thing you know, he was in Barbados. So I love that right there. Acceptance of the end
wills the means.
Wills the means. Or brings.
So Chris, there's a story in the parable book. There was a brother named, what was his name? John the Baptist's father. Was his name Zachariah?
I think so, you know.
Yeah, man. He was a high priest. So his job was to burn incense in the temple continuously. So in the temple one time I burn some incense. And him old, him old. And him wife old too. Elizabeth. And him in there burn incense one time and the angel forward unto him. And say, you are going. They don't know say your wife are going to have a baby. And him say, what you say? The angel say, yeah, man. And Zachariah thinking himself said, then I can't do that. How come? How that what? You see, the minute him asks how it a go happen. Because all along they've always wanted a baby from them young, them a try, you know. So till now them old and a baby in a forward, you know. And now finally you're about to get what you want, what you've desired. And what's the first question he asks? How? Yeah. You know what the angel said to him? Say, you see, because you've asked how, you're still going to get the baby, you know. But you chat too much. From now until the baby born, you will not be able to speak another word. And lock him up dumb.
That's Abdullah and Neville.
Shut it down. The people are thinking that these are actual stories where happen in a ancient Palestine 2025.
Something happening within you. It's
it's telling you. The Bible is written in a mystical way. Everything what the Bible talks about is the Bible is prophecy. It's not history.
Exactly.
It's prophecy. It's not history. The Bible is true, but it's not. The Bible is true but it's not real. Christ is real, but Jesus not exists. Let me say that again. Christ is real, but Jesus don't exist. Christ is the anointed one within you. Christ is a super conscious mind within you that has all the goods, the spoils, we have everything that Christ is the God in you. That's why scripture will tell us that Christ in you is your hope of glory. He never said Jesus in you. Jesus is a Roman guy where the Romans them bring in this thing here to left that piano idea. Sorry, Chris.
I was looking at the Hebrew meaning of Zechariah, and it says God has remembered. You know, so I'm sure if you read the story, you will see why he was named Zechariah. You know, because as you said, he's always wanted to have a child. Him and Elizabeth. Elizabeth is the wife or the mother of John the Baptist. You know, and so every name in the Bible has a meaning. Her name means God is my oath, or my God is abundance. You know, so they don't have a name just to have a name. It's a nature about them. You know, Elizabeth knows that, as I mentioned, your consciousness, your awareness is your abundance, you know, and Zachariah remembers that.
Yes.
You understand? He remembers that, but wait, that is my abundance. So there's no accident why those two names were John the Baptist's parents. Because that is, in essence, as I said earlier, Serti, consciousness. I mean, the Bible is not a book of history, it's a book of prophecy. It's what it is, you in action right now. That's all the Bible is, you know, it's you in action right now. You're acting in ignorance of who you are. But one day you will remember, as Zachariah. You understand? One day you remember, and then you initiate the other side, Elizabeth, which is barren, was trying to have kids, and couldn't do it. And how old was Elizabeth at the time? Why Zachariah? I said, boy, how can we have a baby now and no man old? How old is she?
I'm not sure the specific age. I'm not even sure if the age was mentioned, but she was past the age of childbearing for
She
sure.
was exactly. She's saying for past the age of childbearing, which is implying, as in other stories like Sarah, who was 90 at the time. Same thing, she laughed, and Isaac laughed when they said, not Isaac, Abraham laughed when them say, "You got a baby," and they laughed, and that's why the baby's name was Isaac, because his name means to laugh or laughter. So you see, everything correlates, because when somebody tells you, when you tell somebody of your dream or goals or whatever, they may laugh at you. And when somebody comes to you and says to you, say, you know, sir, I see greatness in you, you might laugh too. And because you don't see it. But your consciousness, who's your abundance, knows. And so if you just take the time, like Neville did, and just trust what Abdullah was saying, and just imagine, you're going to get that assumption or that desire, and you will kind of laugh at yourself in the end, because you will say to yourself, say, boy, I never did believe someone could even do this. If you didn't tell me, I hear people say all the time, if you didn't tell me, say, from 10 years ago that no, I would own, you know, XYZ, I would laugh at you. Because 10 years ago, you couldn't see that far, that you would have that kind of opulence or abundance. So when somebody tells you about what they see in you, or your potential, a lot of times you chuckle within yourself, because you cannot see what they see. And that is how our human interactions is. It's like it really takes someone else outside of you to nudge you, because you're operating with the five senses. You see all of the endurance, you see all of the struggles,
all the imperfections, all of the
all
struggles.
the limitations, yes. But the other person who's observing you, they can see your true essence. They can see your true drive. You know, your potential is evident to them, but it's not always evident to you. So it always takes somebody to nudge you. I remember probably 15 years ago or less, when I was working in a barbershop, certainly, most of my clients would come to me and say, Chris, when I go get you in a barbershop? Because they knew me when I used to work for myself. Right here in this room, I used to have a barbershop right in here. So it was all decked out nice and everything and whatnot. So them used to me working in my own space. But they would always say, when you go get open up a barbershop, you know, they will always remind me. So they always saw that probability or possibility, that potential. But I'm so caught up with everything else around me that that was not my focus. You understand? So it so happened that one day the inspector came to the shop, and I was working in the shop at the time. I didn't have a license, and the inspector gave me a ticket, right? Gave me a $500 ticket to a certain for working without the license, you know.
The license, huh?
Yeah. And so him tell me, just go to school. Him kind of pull me aside and say, if you go to school and you can show me paper, say you're in school,
Yeah,
or
that's fine.
then, you know, maybe, you know, basically just tell me, say, you know, if I come back and I see you here, if you can show me that you're in school, I won't trouble you. You understand? Because I know you're working towards the goal and stuff like that. And I saw come me end up in a school. Not long after that, I registered for school, and because you know, school is not they didn't have barber school, they have cosmetology, so you had to learn how to do women's hair, you have to learn how to do perm and relaxing, blow drying and flat ironing and roller set. You have to do all these feminine stuff as we see, because you have to do women's hair. It's not just men. So we never really want to do that, but it's something that I had to do in order to get my license and stuff like that, you know. So, but that prompted me to go to school. I got through it, but I'm just showing you the bridges of incidents, as Never would say, or people would say coincidences, but there are no such thing as coincidence, only obedience. Your consciousness is obeying. I mean, not your consciousness. The outward world is obeying your consciousness. That guy had to come by obedience.
Yeah.
Catch me in the shop, working without a license, give me a ticket.
So that you go get yourself, so that you go get yourself qualified, so you can have what your imagination projected out there.
Exactly. And so once I got my license, it was easier for me now to go open up a barber shop and work in there. Because when I opened up a barber shop, I was working in there for 4 months without any barbers. So if I didn't have a license, I would not be able to do that.
Right.
Because the shop has to have its own license and I have to have my own license. So I would not be able to open a shop and work, because they have to come and inspect and check your license and stuff like that. You can't open a shop until there's a license present, at least one worker or barber or something like that. So that, in a sense, was a 4-year journey, or whatever time it was between the time I had the license. Yeah. I think because I went to school in 2009. I think so. No, 2010. Yeah, and it was in a jewelry barbershop while I was in school. And you see how that projected. 4 years later, I found the shop in 2014. You understand? And But I'm just showing you the bridge of incidents that led to me having to open up my own shop. And I had people coming to me telling me, when you go open up your own shop, when you go open up your own shop, what's going on? What are you doing here? You waste your time, you waste your talent and whatnot. And it is those people chirping in my ears, as I'm saying, telling me, you have the potential. So sometimes you need somebody to come and nudge you, or birds out of them can't fly, You have to push them out of the nest. They don't know they can fly.
And so, Chris, I'm saying, looking back now, you can connect the dots now and see how. But looking forward, you will never know how.
No.
Looking forward, you will never know how. You can only look back and connect the dots and see how it happened. But you will never know how it's going to happen. So
you never know how it's going to happen. Exactly. After the fact, you can connect the dots and you see it. But no, we have to just learn, and trust is the word. Trust that you don't know how, but that does not matter. You just need to know the end. There's a part of you that knows how. You just need to know. The only thing you need to know is the end. As I said, accepting the end is knowing the end. Once you know what end result you're looking forward to, eventually having this or having that or going here or going there, once you know that end and you accept it, then the means will be presented. And it will be so organic, so natural. That was a natural thing. The man come in, gave me a ticket, and the rest is history. It wasn't anything forced. It was natural, And it was leading me into the promised land, and I didn't even know it all this time. You understand? So that's how your consciousness works, covertly, masking itself in so-called coincidences until it plays itself out in reality. So yeah, man, great catch right there, Sir T. So let's continue, and we'll be right back.
Theory, but mechanics. When you occupy a state, whether it be the state of wealth, love, or rejection, the subconscious arranges the stage with impeccable obedience. Your prayer must be answered if you assume the feeling that would be yours were you already in possession of your objective. Notice the pattern Neville and James Allen both taught. Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. Why? Because calmness is the signature of someone who has already accepted the end. Think of prayer as Neville described, an illusion of sleep, a relaxation that renders the mind receptive to suggestion from within. When you release the senses and slip into stillness, the conscious effort falls away. What remains is assumption, and assumption alone hardens into fact. And here lies a secret most people never practice. The calmer you are, the louder your assumption speaks. When you touch the end in imagination and rest in its certainty, you align with a frequency that bends the outer world. This is why Neville insisted, what you want wants you. Desire is not a taunt from the universe. It is a memory of your higher self, a signal from the future calling you home. The business you long for, the love you ache for, the peace you crave, all exist in the eternal now. When you say, I am, you summon it. When you occupy the end with feeling, it begins to occupy you. And soon you notice the world adjusting. People speak differently. Opportunities align. Even obstacles become bridges. You don't need to know the sequence, only the finale. The Bible said it this way: when you pray, enter into your closet, and when you have shut your door, pray to your Father which is in secret, and your Father which sees in secret shall reward you openly. The closet is imagination. Closing the door is shutting out the tyranny of the five senses. Reward openly is the hardened fact the world can't ignore. Every time you close your eyes and dare to feel the end, not as a hope, but as a now, you are entering that secret place. Now, some of you may say, but I don't have reference experience. I've never lived the end I want. Neville knew this objection well. That's why he said, prayer, like sleep, is an entrance into the subconscious. Even without evidence, faith is enough. And once you gather even one reference experience, you'll see the rhythm. Some way, somehow, the assumption always arranges the path. Steve Jobs called it connecting the dots backwards. Neville called it the law. So here is your only task. Assume the end, feel it real, and yield. That's all. You don't have to dictate the plot, only claim the curtain call. If doubts whisper, don't wrestle them, recognize them as old states echoing their last lines before fading. You are not your doubts. You are not your fears. You are the director who chooses which state takes the stage. And when you choose deliberately, when you assume consciously, when you occupy boldly, the world, like a loyal actor, repeats your script. Now listen carefully. All of this leads to a greater revelation, one Neville hinted at, but rarely spoke aloud. There is a way not only to assume the end, but to collapse the time it takes for that end to appear. Yes, what you want is already yours, but beyond that, there exists a hidden key that makes your assumption inevitable, irreversible, and immediate. Most never find it because they abandon the state too soon, or they let the evidence of the senses pull them back. Tonight, stay with me until the final breath of this narration, because in that last moment, I will unveil this key, the secret that allows you to bypass delay and touch the instant fulfillment of your desire.
What if the waiting you fear is nothing but a shadow, and the moment you accept the end, time itself kneels to your assumption? The stage of life is never neutral. Every event, every face, every seeming coincidence is a line in a script first whispered in imagination. This is why Neville said, when you emerge from prayer, it is as though you were shown the successful end of a play, though you were not shown how it was achieved. The senses cry out, but look, the evidence, the lack, the rejection. Yet the truth is startling. The five senses are reporters of yesterday's imaginal acts. They are messengers, not masters. To obey them blindly is to live forever in reruns of your own past. Neville.
See, I have a touch on this 30.
Yes, man. Have to. The five senses, they are reporting yesterday's assumptions. The things them where I see, where happen, that showing up presently in your world today. These are just the shadows of yesterday's assumptions. And you can try as you may, you can't avoid them. You know. Not because you become a new person today. You still have to live out your assumptions from yesterday. You can't skip no steps. You can hasten the steps by changing your assumptions. You can hasten your steps, but you can't skip your steps. Every assumption, whether you put it out there consciously or unconsciously, have to return to you. It's your child. It has to come forward to you. It's your creation. It has to forward to you. So when you know that, when you see the unpleasant things show up in front of you, don't claim them to be yours. Not, you know in yourself that they are yours, but don't claim them to be yours presently. In other words, when you find yourself broke today, don't affirm it by saying, I am broke. And at the same time, you don't have to totally deny it, because the fact is you're broke, you don't have no money. You put it in the past. It's like what scripture tells us, Satan, get behind me. You put it in the past by saying, I was broke. Even though you're looking at your wallet now and you're broke, you don't claim it to be a present fact by saying, I am. You will never attach that to I am. So you don't say, I am broke. Say, I was broke. I was sick. You didn't at the hospital last week and somebody who is not into consciousness come and talk to you about it. And I said, well, I'm here, so you're sick. You're not African. I was sick. Even though I might still be feeling sick right now. I was sick. The fact is, yeah, I was. You put it in the past because that illness is an adversary. It's something working against you. It's Satan. And what them say if you do with Satan, get behind me. Put him in our past tense.
So the book is coming to life now with the proper interpretation because we were taught that he was talking to a literal devil.
No.
And the devil is simply, as they say,
An adversary.
an adversary is something that is going against what you desire to experience. It is adverse to what you intended to experience. As they say, if you find yourself broke or sick or whatever, you say, I was in that instance. You never admit that I am.
No.
Or will be. I was.
Put the devil behind you.
Put it behind you.
And the devil will try to sneak up again, you know. Like you say, oh, I will be rich. That's the devil again.
Yeah, guys.
That's the devil. He might come to you in a different form now, so now you project it off into the future. If you say I will be rich, you will always be saying I will be rich. So you don't ever say I will be. Anything in the future tense, I am. Anything in the present tense that you like, that is good for you, I am. Anything in the present tense that is not good for you, I was. Anything that you have in the that you're experiencing in the present tense that is not to your tasting, it's not to your liking, you put it behind you by saying I was. If it is something that is, if it is something for the future, there is no future tense. There is no future tense. No, I will be. I am.
Right now.
Yes, I am. And if it is something presently that is to your liking, I am. If it is something happening presently that is not to your liking, I was. So you don't have to totally refuse to speak on it. Yeah, you can speak on it. I was.
Yeah, long as you appropriate it correctly.
Correct. Behind you.
Yes, because you know what you mean when you say, I was. You know you're speaking of a past, reality.
My wife was at work the other night and she have a problem with her leg. So I call her and it was not a call, it was a text. Text her and she had said, "Why my feet are hurting?" And I say, "It was." My text, "It was." And she texts back, "No, they are." Back, "It was." And she said, "No, it. Me text back, "It was." And finally she texts, "It was."
Right.
Put it behind you and it will stay behind you.
Yeah, man, it is very it is important to be conscious of what causes things, of what's the cause. It's always your awareness of us at some point that is causing the effect. It doesn't matter how the effect is, your awareness did it. And the same thing that causes is the same thing that can uncause.
There you go.
The same knife will still go and stick sheep. It's a double-edged sword. They say I wound and I heal.
Same knife. Same knife. I wound and I heal. What? Think about it. Let's say we were really talking about a God, a good, benevolent God in the sky that come out brave and bold and tell us, I wound. And what would I want to have to do with a God who is confessing to me saying wound people? They don't know better than Sandu and Nakimagan.
Right.
I wound. Why would I want to have nothing to do with a God that going and wound people? It's not talking about, it's not no God that said that. It's talking about consciousness, awareness.
You're the one using the consciousness.
There are three that resides within. There are three that resides within every man. Conscious mind, subconscious mind, and the superconscious mind. The superconscious mind is the father. The subconscious mind is the mother. And the conscious mind is the son. The son is the one that needs to be saved. The son is the devil, is a version of the devil. Satan and Jesus, the son where them relate to him. Satan and Jesus are brother. One is the good son and one is the bad son. Jesus is the son that is saved. Satan is the son that is lost. So you become the saved son, and what after Savior?
That's why he went to, where he went to? Fasting or whatever, or something like that for 40 days or 40 nights.
Yes.
And the devil come and start tempting. That is him, going off into that emotional state.
Into that emotional state. So your conscious mind is the devil. That's word. That it is the weapon that is found against you. Your conscious mind.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you still can't do without it. You need it. It's unnecessary. It's necessary, but it is the weapon that is formed against you. Your conscious mind.
You have to discipline it. Yeah.
Good. Now the super conscious mind is your father. The super conscious mind is the Christ that resides in you. Jesus and Christ are not the same thing. Jesus and Christ is not the same thing. Christ is the anointed one. Jesus is the one that needed to be anointed. The conscious mind, the human side of you, the conscious mind is what needs to be anointed, is what is needed. The Christ, which is the super conscious mind in you, that is the Savior or your Savior. It has to come through the subconscious mind. Assumption, imagination. That's the only food, that's the only thing that you can feed to the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind does not work by words. The subconscious mind works by feeling.
Yep.
The subconscious mind does not work by words. The subconscious mind works by feeling. What? The three that resides within. Superconscious mind, conscious mind, and the subconscious mind. The conscious mind works by thought. Conscious mind is always thinking. Conscious mind works by thought. The subconscious mind works by feeling, emotion, while the superconscious mind works by imagination. The superconscious mind works by imagination. Imagination is the only access to it.
This is the imagination, the superconscious, yeah.
Correct. The subconscious mind works by feeling. It's by emotion, feeling it, while the conscious mind works by thought. So you have to discipline. You have to discipline your thoughts with your conscious mind, because the thought is gonna lead to an emotion, and the subconscious mind is gonna accept that emotion. The subconscious mind will never argue with you. It's just gonna accept that emotion and reflect it back to you. Well, the superconscious mind, which is the father, works by imagination. We have to be aware of these things. Because these are things that you can't stop doing. You're always imagining, you're always thinking, and you're always feeling.
Yeah.
But you can't just let it run wild. Know that you're aware of these things.
Like when you drive a car, you have to know the road code.
You have to know the road code.
You can't drive on the wrong side of the road, which is imagining unwisely. You cannot drive, through the red light. You can't run the stop sign. All these things are violations of your imagination. That's why when police say you will get a ticket, or you will get into an accident. The police is just warning you, as Abdullah warned Neville and slammed the door. Don't imagine that. Don't imagine that you are not in Barbados, or you're living in New York. Imagine that you are in New York. You understand? So you're right. The imagination is the father, the storehouse, where everything is, and everything just is. And the subconscious is the right-hand man.
Yes.
To the superconscious.
The subconscious is the subconscious is the avenue that you have to walk through to get to the superconscious is the Christ within it, the anointed. It's the anointed one that has the potential to produce everything where you want, but you have to walk through the avenue of the subconscious mind to get to it.
The bridge of incident, you know?
Conscious mind is on one side, the subconscious mind is in the middle.
Yeah.
The superconscious mind is on the other side. What you want and the superconscious mind have it. You have to go through the subconscious mind to get it. And the subconscious mind will only work, it only know what you want based on your feelings. Feeling is the language, the only language that the subconscious mind accepts. So the conscious mind, it operates by thought, by five senses. But the subconscious mind, which is the avenue that you have to pass through, subconscious mind doesn't care what you think. It doesn't care what you see. It doesn't care what you hear, taste, touch, smell, think. It cares about how do you feel. Remember when the brother man, the lion one man, the two twin, Jacob.
Oh yeah. I was just thinking about that.
You notice him dress up like him, brother. He feel like it. The only thing that could convince the father, Isaac, the superconscious mind. Your sound, the voice sound like Jacob, but the body feel like Esau. And because you feel like Esau, you convince him. You don't care what you sound like. Him blind in him can't see him. Him not care what you sound like. You may not smell like Esau. You put on Esau clothes and you not smell like.
Yeah.
Him not care what you sound like. And if him could have seen you, him not even this is what you look like. Come close, my son, so I can feel it.
That's why the father is a righteous judge, because him can't see.
Can't see.
Because if you can see, you can't judge rightly.
Correct. So you have to come through that subconscious mind that operates by feeling. You have to feel right before the Father will bless you.
That's why I'm asked Jacob. Come, my son, let me feel you.
Feel you.
Feel if you're right. If you have the feeling of the wish, what you have. You have the feeling of the wish. Remember the wish? The wish was, I want to be.
I want the birthright.
I want to be the firstborn. I want to have the birthright of the firstborn, which is the father's blessing.
Well, but if you want the birthright, let me see if you feel right. If you feel right, you get the birthright.
Yeah. So you have to become that feeling. That's what Jacob did. He became the feeling of Esau.
Correct.
Everything that Esau had, he became it. He became the hairy side. He became the smelly side. You know, and he came back with the food to convince him. Father said, "Father, you sent me out to get the food, and I came back with it." So that was another way to convince him.
That's a sense of taste. Him cook the food just like how Esau would have cooked it. So you taste right, you can't see, but the sense of sight is gone. Taste right, you taste right, you're not sound right. You're not sound right. You smell right. You taste right.
Yeah.
You're not sound right. But you feel right.
Yeah.
And I can't see, so I don't know what you look like. So three against one come true, you're gone.
And once you get the father's blessing, the father cannot take it back.
Not even the father himself can't take the blessing from you once.
No, he can't reverse it.
It is irreversible.
Irreversible. You know? So
when we read these stories not out there and things, we have to know, say, are we that talk to? It's not telling you what will happen. It's not history, it's prophecy. It'll tell you what is going to happen. You understand? But them embellish the story in a kind of a poetic form to grab your interest.
Yeah, make it dramatize.
To dramatize it.
Yeah.
But you have to get the main substance where it is giving you out of it. It is a tale of five senses and feeling and imagination and all of that. That's what the story is telling you about. It's not a literal thing what happened. You know you're in a history down in Jerusalem where you're going to find that story. That never happened.
Jerusalem is within, man.
Huh?
Jerusalem is within.
It's within. It never happens. It's going to do, and it's going to keep happening. It will always happen.
You know, you have two Jerusalem, you know, within it. You have the one above and the one below. You understand? We all came from the Jerusalem below, but we give birth to everything from the one above. Your consciousness. You understand? That's the only Jerusalem that exists. That's why they said the destruction of Jerusalem and then the rebuilding of Jerusalem. The rebuilding of Jerusalem is becoming aware of who you really are. That's how you rebuild it. The one they come from is just a portal to come into this world. But the one that you rebuild is the one that you really came from into this world. You know, through the portal, your mother's womb. You understand? So all these things are then build up to mimic the biblical stories and to make it seem as something historical. Our lies, you know, to continue to fool the minds of the many. But once you're awake, you see the deception. You know, you see the deception. And once you see the deception, now you're able to consciously be aware of things that's going on, and you still continue to manifest. Despite the chaos, as we're talking about here today, you know, that your faith begins the very minute your struggle to manifest ends. You know, once you realize that it's not a struggle, it's an assumption, it's a claim, it's an acceptance. The faith takes over. You understand? And begins the journey. and creates the way, the pathway, the incidences, the bridges of incidences, obedience, what them call coincidences, start to manifest themselves. And it happens so naturally, them call it a miracle. It's a miracle.
Because it's a miracle because you can't see the how of it.
No.
When a magician, when you're up on the beach down on the grill, and a magician brother come on there, I entertain it towards them. I make him a try to make a money still. And him come with him things them and him come and him put up him piece of rope and him use the scissors and cut here, your sister him cut it, and then him put it back in front of you and it. Why you call it magic? You call it magic because you don't know how him do it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with a miracle. People call it a miracle because they don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So when your manifestation come true, to you it should be a miracle because you don't know how. You should not know how it happened. You're not going to know how. You're not supposed to know how, and you're not here to know how it happened. It's your miracle. It's a miracle. What happened is not important.
I'm laughing, you know, Serti, because look what happened to me with the barbershop. Never want to go to school, you know. Never want to go. But consciousness don't care about that. Yeah, it's not what you don't want, it's your focus.
Yeah, man. And the consciousness not a problem making you uncomfortable for bring food where it have to bring food. Yeah. You not care about your comfort. It care about the end.
Yeah. You know, the ladder technique, I will not climb a ladder. I will not go to school.
Yeah, you not care. You're still no good.
I mean, I was saying that for years in Serti. I will not go. I now go. Not go to school. Because I would have to go do. Ended up going. And it happened so naturally. And didn't even realize it was my doing. You understand?
Yeah.
Didn't even realize that.
Because the thing that you want, the subconscious mind, the superconscious mind, it already figure out, so that is the easiest path to get, because it's always going to route to the easiest path. The easiest path to get
the more natural path, yeah. Whatever is natural.
Part there, It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You won't even realize what's happening.
You want to realize what's happening. And you're not supposed to realize because it's so natural. You're just going with the flow. You know, you would just think, boy, just my luck, you know, bad luck, D. And it's funny because that's how consciousness works. You will be put in a situation where it seems as if your wish or desire that you have is not going to happen. No, because something happened that will it appear to negate it or put some kind of limitations on it. And it's really consciousness still at work going through that channel. Sometimes doors have to be closed so another one can open.
It's consciousness doing it his way.
Yeah. Because
all right, back surface. Keep going.
All right, because it knows the best way. You don't know consciously. When we say you, we are talking about the conscious mind. The conscious mind does not know how anything is going to happen. The conscious mind only knows what it desires, but it does not know how to get what it desires. You know, and that's why you turn it over to the subconscious, who then takes it to the Father, you know, the storehouse, the imagination, and brings it back. That's why whatever someone imagine, they don't know how it's going to happen. Them just imagine it, and somewhere, somehow, their subconscious put them in contact with the right individual or individuals or the company. And a lot of we call it now, a lot of inventions that we see were not made by the one who imagined it, you know. They just imagined the thing and they took it to an inventor, took it to the person who can provide the means or the money and stuff like that. And they work out the details and they construct it. But there's a guy or girl or someone who imagined a particular thing and took it to a company, and the company bring it into being. But it was their imagination, it was their invention. They came up with the idea, and something led them to the right people to bring it to the world, so we can now use it. All right, so let's continue, guys, and we'll be right back.
Warned, whenever your feeling is in conflict with your wish, feeling will be the victor. That is why the law demands not effort, but yielding. To yield is to relax into the end, as though sinking into a chair already shaped for you. Prayer, he said, is not begging the heavens. Prayer is assuming the feeling of being and having that which you desire. It is an art, and like every art, it grows more effortless with practice. Think of the artist. She does not force the canvas. She lets the brush flow, guided by an inner vision already complete. In the same way, you do not force the future. You yield to the vision and let the subconscious arrange the scene. James Allen described it perfectly. Calmness of mind is one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. Why calmness? Because the calm man has remembered the end. He knows that storms are not verdicts, but transitions. The calm man does not wrestle with doubt. He transcends it. He knows that fear is not prophecy, but noise. He sees beyond appearances because he understands the law of cause and effect. What you feel as true becomes true. Thus, calmness is not passivity, it is creative dominance. It is the stillness of the king who already owns the crown. Say it to yourself, what I want wants me back. This is not poetic fancy, it is metaphysical precision. The very desire you feel is the universe remembering itself through you. If you long for love, it is because love is already reaching for you. If you long for success, it is because success is already yours in imagination. The only question is, will you consent to assume it now? Neville spoke of the perfectly disciplined man, the one who refuses to entertain feelings that do not contribute to his happiness. This is not denial, this is choice. You are free to identify with rejection, with fear, with delay, and the subconscious will obey. But you are equally free to identify with certainty, with love, with abundance, and the subconscious will obey just the same. So when the old voices rise, but it isn't meant for me, I will be abandoned, I will be rejected. Smile at them as echoes, not prophecies. These are thought forms you once consented to, but they are not law. Law is assumption. Law is I am. And tonight you can choose anew. When Jesus said, "Enter into your closet and shut the door," he was not speaking of wood and hinges. He was pointing to this secret chamber within. To shut the door is to silence the senses, to shut out yesterday's news, and to dwell in the end. There in imagination, you may assume freely. There the world cannot contradict you. There every wish is already fulfilled. And as you remain there, reality is compelled to reflect it openly. Right now, close your eyes, not literally, but in your inner vision. Imagine the end. Perhaps it is someone congratulating you. Perhaps it is you holding the letter, signing the contract, feeling the embrace. Don't analyze the scene. Don't negotiate with it. Simply feel it is done. It is mine. I am. That single act of assumption is a seed planted in the soil of the subconscious. And seeds, when left alone, grow. Before we go deeper, I want to invite you to live this, not just understand it. We created a 21-day challenge to help you embody these teachings day after day until assumption becomes your natural state. Each day you will step into imagination, assume the end, and watch how quickly reality bends. It is not theory, it is transformation. The link is in the description and pinned comment. If you're ready to stop chasing and start creating, join us. Begin tonight. Now, return with me. Remember,
Yeah, really quickly, guys, what it is saying there, or what he is saying there about the 21-day challenge is for 21 days straight, to imagine or assume whatever it is that you have in mind, whatever it is that you desire, to every day do what we call it now, internal work. You know, you're imagining the state already fulfilled. So you're going right to the end. You're not looking at the whole or the facts that you don't have the means, or the means are not present, or even that you have encountered what I call it now, some kind of a setback during that, imaginal state. You're imagining the end and then you have a setback. Don't even contemplate the setback. Don't even let that disturb or disrupt the end that you already have in mind. As I just stated, sometimes doors close so others can open. Okay? So don't let your five senses fool you that while you are imagining a particular desire or state, you encounter a setback. It is just a part of the imaginal reality that is going to take. It's a part of the means that it has to take for whatever reason in order for you to meet the desire that you have in mind. So sometimes you have to be very aware of that. That is just your mind will play tricks on you, and in a way try to get you to see that as a disruption, an interruption, and it looks like it's not going to happen. No, we have to really attend to this new disruption or whatever. Yes, you're going to attend to it, yes, in a physical sense or whatever sense that it requires. You will attend to it, but do not cease from your imaginal act. In terms of, do not take away that end in mind. Do not keep your mind attached to that end in mind. Sustain that end in mind. Don't wander off into the distraction that will take your mind away from the end in mind that you had, because that's what really happens. You're having an idea, a desire, whatever, and sometimes this one thing that's come out of left field, as they would say, and interrupt or disrupt, your path, and it makes you start to think that this is not going to happen right now. We're going to have to put this thing off. We're going to have to put off this trip, whatever it is that you have in mind. I've got to put off buying the house. I've got to put off buying the car. I've got to put off, starting the business. And all you're doing is really setting yourself back when you do that, because you did not sustain the end in mind. So no matter what happens, this is discipline. This is why Jesus walked around with the 12 disciples, which is really your five senses, walked around with them to discipline them. They represent your five senses, your outer senses. The 12 disciples, that's what they represent. That's what they mean. Okay? So you have to discipline them so that when things arise, they can see things for what it is and what it is not. Okay? And because you sustain your discipline, you do not influence the subconscious mind now to take on a new feeling. That feeling might be fear, despair, disappointment. If you influence your subconscious now with that new feeling of despair, of disappointment, desperation, feeling like a failure and stuff like that, the subconscious mind will then, instead of going forward with your 21-day challenge of imagining the wish fulfilled and sustain that, it will go off into something else now. It will follow that new route.
You can't apologize to your subconscious mind and say, I'm sorry, you're not lucky about that, You can't send a signal to the farmer can't plant gungo in the earth and then knock in and say, right, sorry, you can't be doing it. You can't have no business with that. Gungo you plant, gungo you get no business.
And you have your order for your condom already, but you plant
you have your order for your condom already, and you dig up your whole 4 acre land and plant pure gungo, mistake you make. You can't say sorry, you no business.
I'm going to find some new customers now who buy gungo.
Sorry for that.
That is true.
So we can't deny these things, because in a natural life we have a vivid example of it, how it works. And if you say this to a 4-year-old child, him understand. 4-year-old child already know that if you plant can't go grow it. You think him don't know that already? As long as him go up around that thing them. I'm a little boy, I miss my father plant it. I'm already figure that out, saying anything he plant that's how go.
Oh yeah.
No apology.
Oh yes. We've all done it. You don't expect anything other than what you planted. In the natural world, where we struggle, as we're talking about today, your faith begins where your struggle ends. Where we struggle is in the mental world, the imagination, the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension and above. That's where we struggle to bring things here into being, because it doesn't feel natural. Operating from a sense of mind, a sense of unseen. Faith is loyalty to unseen reality. You don't see it yet, and so you become impatient and you lose the grip on the wish that you have in mind. You lose the grip on it because you're looking for signs, or you're waiting too long, or you're not doing what you're supposed to do and just do that and don't worry about the results. You're looking for results.
That is why faith without work is dead. You owe the work on with the faith.
Mm-hmm.
When you assume against what 5 cents reality is showing, when you assume against that, you don't have no money, but you assume so you're abundant.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have some work that follow that, that shows that you feel abundant. You can't just say it,
Yeah.
You have a right check when you're not when your bank, you have a right check and send it out all the time of money.
Mm-hmm.
You have to write the check and send it out. Mail it off and pay bills when time you're looking at your account and the money. That is your work following your faith now.
Yeah.
That is your work following your faith. You have to it take things like those now. That's when you know for your fact now say, yes, I have accepted the end without seeing the pathway, without seeing the road, without seeing the road that lead to the end.
Yes. Loyalty.
Loyalty, yeah.
Yeah. Dedication. Discipline. And you stay the course no matter what evidence, that may show or may come. You stay true to your desire in mind. So that's where we struggle is when it comes to the mental plane. But if we understand that all things exist by way of the mental plane, then we can't go wrong if we stick to the mental plane. But we've been conditioned, unfortunately, by the 3D. We've been conditioned by living here. So in this world, everything is tangible and evident, and you kind of develop a sense of we call it now impatience, where you really desire this thing right now, something that you need, and because you can't see it or you can't see the weird or the whole, it distracts you and take you away from the real thing you're supposed to focus on, which is the thing in mind, and only that.
I want to say something else about abundance, because we tend to feel like we might be we assume abundance, we assume that we're abundant, and because you don't have $3 million in your account, you think you're not abundant. If you assume abundance, but you're still living from paycheck to paycheck, as long as the paychecks keep coming, you're abundant.
Yes.
Let me say that again. If you assume that you're abundant, but you're still living from paycheck to paycheck, you have to accept that you're abundant while you're still living from paycheck. And the fact is, as long as the paychecks keep coming, you are abundant.
Exactly.
You're not happy. 300,000 in your account for it to be abundant. As long as your needs are being supplied, then you are abundant. You have to accept that abundance before you go see the other abundance now where you can live without working.
Yeah.
You're coming from a place where your salary wasn't even enough to carry you. Then you get to a place where your salary carry you, but you live from paycheck. Then you're not abundant, man. As long as the salary keep coming. So don't get into the mindset of thinking, because that's when you start looking around for the world to show you. The world will never show you evidence. You start looking around now for the world to show you evidence that you're abundant. No, the abundance have to be a feeling within you where you know. In other words, even though the paycheck not come, you know it will come. And if the paycheck not come, it will come from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Abundance is a confidence where you have from within, and that abundance come because you know that you have Christ in you. Christ is the abundant one, and not you. The Christ in you. Remember what I said earlier, I said Jesus not there, but Christ is real. Christ is the anointed one. Christ is the anointing that brings you all things, including abundance, health, wealth, abundance, perfect self-expression. All of that comes through the Christ within you. What is that Christ within you? The superconscious mind. That special, the special why Christ is in you. Christ not every man have a super conscious mind in him. Some man just not aware of it. So now that you're aware of it, yes, it's an added responsibility on you now. To him that know to do good and do it, not to him it is sin. So a book saying, to him that know to do good and do it, not to him it is sin. To the man who don't know better, to him it is not sin.
Either. That's true.
Okay. So now that you know that is at the guillotine that right at your neck. Now you're expected to do better. Now that you know that you have the anointing, the confidence that it takes to assume blindly without no evidence and accept the end without no evidence. That confidence can only come from a place of knowledge.
Yeah.
When you say Steph Curry shoot a ball from 30 feet out and turn and start running the other way before it even hit the net, where do you think that confidence come from? That confidence come from a place of knowledge. Him know how the ball left off him and he knows that anytime he leave him hand like that, it is correct. A straight in later, but now, you know how many times I've seen that little man shoot the ball and turn and go the other way, and everybody else see the ball going except him. Him start celebrating without seeing it going. And everybody else see when he going except him can turn him back on the shot. You know, but that confidence comes from a place of knowledge. Something when you know. Well, listen what you're going to have to know to have that confidence in your assumption. You have that confidence in your assumption because you know that Christ is in you. And Christ cannot fear. Christ is the anointed one. So you know that's where that confidence comes from. That confidence comes from that super conscious mind within. That is infallible. That's where the confidence comes from. That's why you don't have to look for no evidence. You don't care about evidence. You already have your evidence. Your evidence is that Christ is within.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Your evidence is that Christ is within.
That's the evidence.
Good.
You know. And
once you wake up.
Yeah, once you wake up. Because
once you wake up to that reality, nothing else is supposed to confuse you.
That is the only evidence you need. That is and that happens too. That is the only evidence you need. But we're always taught to look for evidence as something five sensory. And because of that, people struggle, you know. But when you wake up and you realize who you are, what you are, and why you are, then
Christ in you is your hope of glory. Not the Christ that them said at Jerusalem, not the one with them leave hanging on a cross, the one in you. And the minute you have found Christ in you to be your super conscious mind, the minute you found that in you, then your confidence is supposed to be over the roof. You're supposed to shoot and turn your back like Steph Curry. You're not have to see it going. Everybody else look to see it going. You don't have to see it going.
True. That kind of confidence, right?
That kind of confidence.
Yeah.
That's the kind of when you say you're living in the end, to live in the end, you know, it's a confidence. You know, you're confident of the end without knowing the means. You don't remember. Keep in mind, you don't know what it means to the end. You know, you don't know how you're going to get there. But you're confident in the end. Without knowing the means.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Your confidence is so vast, it is so knowledgeable, so wise that you don't need to know.
You just use the word, it is so knowledgeable. Confidence comes from a place of knowledge. Anytime you see a person is ultra confident, it's because of something that them know, something him know why I'm confident like that. You know? I don't think him, I think that I guess that is something where him know. That's why I'm so confident. What you know, and if you don't know yet what you need to know, is that the factory, the anointed one that has everything. In my Father's house are many mansions. The Father's house is within you. The Father's house is within you. Who's the Father? Christ. Why you think them call Jesus Jesus Christ? Jesus' father wasn't one brother named God. Jesus' father is Christ. That's why he named Jesus Christ. Jesus bar Christ. That back in those days, that's how names were written. Jesus bar Christ, like how them says Simon Peter is Simon bar Jonah, and father name was Jonah. Jesus was Jesus bar Christ, the son of Christ. It's all parable now, you know. There was no man named Jesus. I'm just making it relatable to you. But the same Christ that dwelt in that, the same Christ that dwelt in the figure in the story when named Jesus. That same Christ that dwelt in that figure that caused him to do all things. I can do all things through who? Through Christ who strengthens me. The Christ within. Christ is not a religious thing. Christ is a literal thing. He's not a man, he's not a being, he's not a mythological figure where dwell up in a heaven somewhere or nothing. He dwell in a your heaven. It's a part of you. It's a very part of you. There's no man on the earth where Christ is. As every man have a super conscious mind. Some man don't know. That's the difference. Blessed is you this morning, because you know if you never know before, you know now.
Yeah. You always have it, whether you're aware of it or not. But when you become aware of it, man, it's like you on steroids, as they would say.
You on steroids?
Yeah, you operate with more confidence now, because it's like where if you by yourself go somewhere, you're around a bunch of guys where intimidating. You're not confident. But when you go with your guys, them know.
Yes, if you go and if you go and your cousin them on one of your cousin Mike Tyson and him did that with you, you're confident like that.
Yeah, man, you have the lowest mount now, nobody can say nothing to you. But in fact, you're the first to talk. Because you're so confident now that you know that you have backative. And that backative is, as I say, is the Christ within, the superconscious, the Father, the all that there is. So with that, you don't need another. That is your storehouse.
One scripture before we go. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. The one with Jesus where they were in Jerusalem, where they on the cross somewhere, the one that they in the world. That is the one we're in you. Greater is he that is in you, the Christ in you. There is something in you that is greater than anything we're in the world. That thing that is in you that is greater than anything in the world is the Christ within it. Is your super consciousness. Be confident of that, my friends. Be ultra confident of that. Whenever time something fearful come upon you, just remind yourself that I have the anointing one with me. I have there is a whole gospel song where they used to sing, say, I must have the Savior with me, or I dare not walk alone. Well, you have the Savior with you. It's a part of your mind. You can't go nowhere without it. Where can I go without him? If I take on the wings of the morning and fly to the atmosphere, I see. I did it with you. That's what the book say. You can't let your mind go nowhere with you. You can't let your mind go anywhere. Whatever situation you find yourself in, just remind yourself silently, quietly, that I have the anointing.
Absolutely. Always with you. Always with you. No matter where you go.
Always with you. It's just for you to be aware. It's always there awaiting your acknowledgement. Once you acknowledge it, then you're activating it.
Yes. Ever waiting for your acknowledgement. Knocking at the door, that's a way for you to open it.
Hold I stand at the door and knock. All these religious jargons where them take and turn into a religion, brother, it is something that is that every man think that it.
But very talented man. All right, so we're gonna continue with the tape, and we'll be right back.
The five senses will always tempt you with their evidence. They will insist, look at the lack, look at the delay. But faith is not sight. Faith is assumption. Faith is seeing the unseen, feeling the unfelt, until the world has no choice but to bow. This is why Neville said, all things exist now. The only question is, which state will you occupy? Which ending will you assume? And here again, I remind you of the hidden promise. Beyond all these practices lies a key that most never discover, the secret of collapsing the weight, of stepping into the instant. Remain with me until the end, and you will receive it. What if the delays you fear are not delays at all, but illusions dissolving the moment you rest in the end? There comes a point in this journey when you realize reality itself is not rejecting you. Reality is only reflecting you. Neville Goddard would often say, what you are conscious of being, that you become. The outer world is not your judge, it is your mirror. And mirrors do not argue, they only reflect. So when you see failure, delay, or rejection, you are not witnessing a prophecy. You are witnessing an interpretation. These are old assumptions hardened into temporary facts. But even facts are malleable, for assumption is the only true law. Think of it this way. Every moment you are interpreting, you are also choosing. The five senses deliver data, but it is imagination that assigns meaning. And meaning is what gives birth to states. If you interpret a closed door as rejection, you step into the state of unwanted, and soon your world echoes it. But if you interpret the same door as redirection, as guidance, as preparation, you remain in the state of certainty, and the world bends toward your wish. This is why Neville taught the practice of reimagining on the fly. See something you dislike? Pause. Close the inner eye to the facts and superimpose the vision you desire. In that instant, you remind reality of who you are. The ancients called it Wu Wei, action without struggle, movement without strain. Neville echoed the same principle. The end wills the means. When you assume the end, you don't need to force the path. Some actions will feel natural, even joyful. Others will feel unnecessary and fall away. This is not laziness, it is alignment. Like a river carving valleys without strain, the subconscious arranges channels for your desire. Phone calls come, ideas arrive, opportunities surface. To the world, it looks like luck. To you, it feels like inevitability. If you struggle to believe, borrow. Speak with those who have already achieved what you desire. Listen to their calmness. Notice how for them the end feels obvious. They rarely dramatize the how. They simply knew it was theirs and acted as though it were natural. This is why Neville often urged, have conversations with the successful. Their thinking patterns reveal assumptions at work. And when you observe those assumptions, you realize they are not extraordinary people. They are ordinary people who dared to assume. And you, tonight, can do the same. The perfectly disciplined man is always in tune with the wish as an accomplished fact. Discipline here does not mean effort, but vigilance, a refusal to dwell in feelings that contradict your end, a willingness to choose again, gently, every time the senses tempt you. This is how calmness is built, not by fighting thoughts, but by transcending them, by remembering again and again, I am the wish fulfilled. I am the end now. And soon, this becomes effortless. You wake already clothed in the feeling. You act already confident. You speak already chosen. Calmness ceases to be practice and becomes identity. Here lies another revelation. The journey itself is not punishment. It is participation. Every challenge, every pause, every apparent delay is not robbing you. It is revealing you. As you walk toward the end, you discover more of who you are. You learn to interpret with wisdom. You learn to choose states deliberately. You learn that what once terrified you is nothing but smoke. The journey is the sculptor's hand shaping the stone. The destination is already certain, but the path is how you become worthy of wearing it lightly. I recall Neville's students, who spoke of entrepreneurs, lovers, and seekers of health. Each testified the same pattern. When they stopped obsessing over methods and began assuming the end, things unfolded naturally. One said, "I imagined myself already congratulated. I felt the relief of it being done. Soon after, opportunities came from angles I could never have forced." Another confessed, "I once feared rejection, but when I assumed myself as already loved, even what looked like rejection turned into guidance. It was never denial, it was rearrangement." These testimonies echo one truth. Assumption is the author, circumstance is the stagehand. And yet, beloved listener, all of this is still prelude. You now know that assumptions harden into fact. You see that calmness is the jewel of wisdom. You understand that the senses echo the past. But there remains a secret few ever discover. The secret of collapsing time itself. For some, assumptions unfold slowly, like a tree growing season by season. For others, they burst forth instantly, like lightning igniting the sky. What makes the difference? The answer waits at the end of this journey. Remain with me, for the crown principle is still veiled. If assumptions already create your world, what hidden key makes them unstoppable, undeniable, and immediate? If the mirror only reflects, then what is its light source? Neville's answer was unyielding. Feeling is the secret. The feeling you permit becomes the future you live. Thought alone is not enough. Repetition without emotion is a hollow echo. It is the feeling, the embodied certainty, that engraves the assumption into the subconscious and hardens it into fact. This is why Neville insisted that prayer is not words, but moods. You do not persuade God with sentences. You persuade yourself with acceptance. You breathe the end until it becomes oxygen. You wear it until it feels natural. In prayer, Neville said, you must yield. Not push, not strain, yield. To yield is to give inner consent, to whisper yes to the vision already prepared for you. This inner consent is quiet but absolute. Like slipping into warm water, you stop resisting and let the state hold you. And in that moment, the subconscious takes over. The means begin to assemble, silently, inevitably. So long as you maintain consent, the outcome is unavoidable. We often imagine feelings as reactions. We feel happy when things go well, anxious when they go poorly. But Neville reversed the order. Feelings are not effects, they are causes. Every outer action, every relationship, every success or failure is the hardened fact of a feeling once entertained. To change your world, you must change your feelings, not superficially but deeply. Ask yourself, what would it feel like if this were already mine? And then live from that feeling, not just in meditation but in movement. Walk as though it is true, speak as though it is done, act as though you cannot fail. The undisciplined man wavers between states. One moment he affirms, I am successful. The next he trembles at the evidence of lack. His world becomes a patchwork of contradictions, reflecting his divided heart. But the disciplined man knows, reality cannot resist a consistent state. If you remain faithful to one assumption, if you refuse to abandon it for the reports of the senses, the world must eventually conform. This is the discipline Neville spoke of, not rigid willpower, but unwavering imagination. A commitment to remain at the end, no matter what the senses scream. Neville compared prayer to the drowsy moment before sleep. Why? Because in that relaxed state, the mind releases resistance. The senses grow quiet, and the subconscious becomes receptive. This is why he taught the SATS technique, state akin to sleep. In that twilight zone, when the body is still but the mind drifts, you may slip into the end and feel it real. And in that state,
the assumption enters the subconscious with unstoppable force. Practice it nightly. As you close your eyes, imagine the congratulation, the success, the embrace. Feel it as fact. Drift into sleep with that feeling, and you will rise into a world reshaping itself to obey. Do you see the thread? Feeling creates. Consent seals. Discipline sustains. Calmness crowns. The perfectly disciplined man, Neville said, never entertains a feeling which does not contribute to his happiness. This is not because he is naive, but because he is sovereign. He knows that to dwell in fear is to fertilize it. To dwell in lack is to multiply it. So he
Wow, that was deep right there. I want to touch on that. Talking about not, attaching your mind to any reality outside of what you desire, as you're imagining or assuming. No matter what comes up, you don't get distracted. You mentioned something about having a sovereign mind. What does that mean, sovereign mind? It just means, Serti alluded to it earlier, be in the world but not of the world. So a sovereign mind is in the world, but it's not of it. In other words, you're in your own world. It's a world within this world. You're in the world, but you're operating from your own sovereignty, your own world. No rules or laws applies to you because you are consciousness. Anything else that you pay attention to, it is all an illusion, a distraction. It is not real. These are tricks on the mind. Fear, false evidence appearing to be real. So you have to perish any thought that an interference or news, anything that spell doom. You have to, exclude that away from your consciousness. You have to close it out. You have to, close off the five senses. You are aware of it, but don't become it because you will perpetuate it. You will, instead of you observing it happening out there in the world somewhere, it will happen to you. It will become part of your reality. So this is why you have to have a sovereign mind. You have to have your own state of mind, despite from the state of what's going on outside of your mind. The current state of events have no bearing on you. Only your current state of your own awareness has any bearings on you. You're your own country, your own state, your own city, your own world, universe, whatever you want to call it. That is where you dwell, But we get caught up because we're here amongst everyone else and everything that's going on. We hear the news, we see the news. We get emotionally charged and all these things, not realizing that we are sabotaging our very own sovereign mind. So we have to become very aware of that and discipline more so to recognize when that is happening and to always remain sovereign, always remain in a state of awareness, calmness, effortlessness, bliss, just knowing and always affirming I am. Affirming I am in the sense of all the things that you desire, never the things that you do not desire to experience. Never admit I am tired, or I am weak, or I am broke, or I am, not well, or all these things. Never confirm that, because anything you add to I am, it's a confirmation. Because you cannot use the Lord's name in vain. Do not, you cannot. And that's why you're told to do not, because you cannot use it in vain. There is no such thing as using the Lord's name in vain, because anything you add to the name of the law, the name of I am, it generates that nature. It generates that nature, because the law is the generator. Okay? It's the storehouse of all possibilities. And whatever you add into I am, you're putting in an order from the warehouse, from the storehouse, to come into your existence. So you have to always be very aware of your sovereignty, and not aware, or not be attached to the coming and goings within the world. The world is just for you to experience what you desire to experience. It is your stage. It is your mirror. But you don't have to enjoy everyone else's stage or mirror. Only your own. Understand? Sir T, you did it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely so. You mentioned earlier that none of the laws in this world, the so-called laws, don't apply to you. Meaning, you are not that so much that they don't apply to you. You are not subjected to them.
Yes.
Them apply to you, yeah. Them apply to you because if you disobey them can prosecute you. But you're not subjected to these laws. You can go around them law without. Not that you're gonna break them law, but you don't have to subscribe to it.
Exactly.
Because you live in your own world, and you operate by a law that supersede that law.
Yes.
You operate by a law that supersedes that law. And the law that you operate by is the law of I am. The law of I am, the law of assumption, which supersedes all of what they call laws around here. So
yeah.
It's just a case of you being aware and remaining in awareness. Don't fall back asleep. Remain aware at all times of who you are. Remain aware at all times of who you are, and that there is no limit to what you can do. There is no limit to what you can do. So you don't abuse that power. You don't try to use that power for any evil, or you try to use that power to manipulate another person, because every person has the same power. This is not. See, religious people, Christian people, we tell us like them have power, because them have one thing named Holy Ghost. For some, even other fellow Christians who still in the same church beside them claim said no have the Holy Ghost, but me have the Holy Ghost. And so them claim say them have a power with no. I have no power where another man have. Every power where here we're talking about here, every single man born of a woman have that power. It is the power. It is the power of the mind. The power is the superconscious mind that works through via the subconscious mind, that you can use your conscious mind to access. You can use your conscious mind to access it once you are aware. So awareness becomes the key. Awareness becomes the key. A lot of people have never heard this message. A lot of people have never heard this truth. You are blessed to hear this truth.
True. Absolutely.
So you have a lot of man walking around in the wilderness of doubt, waiting a being from somewhere else to supply them needs because they've never heard that the supplier is resident within them. They don't know that.
Mhm. Oblivious to it completely.
Oblivious.
Yeah.
I'm at a machine, yes, sir, Chris. Go on, talk.
All right. All right. Yeah, man. So let's continue. We have a few more minutes left of the audio, and then we're going to come back and close out today's lesson.
He dwells only in what he chooses, and the world becomes his chosen echo. And now we return to the mystery still veiled. You know that assumptions harden into fact. You know that feelings are causes. You know that calmness is wisdom. But have you ever wondered why for some manifestation takes years, while for others it appears almost instantly? Why does one person wait while another collapses time? The answer lies in the highest application of these truths, a single principle Neville only hinted at, one that bridges imagination and immediacy. We are close, so very close. Tonight, as you listen, I ask you to prepare, not with anxiety, but with openness. The revelation is not a technique, it is a stance. It is not something you do, it is something you dare. Remain with me, for when we step into the final chamber, I will unveil the crown principle, the secret that makes delay dissolve and makes every assumption inevitable, undeniable, immediate. What if the distance between desire and fulfillment is not measured in years or months, but in the single breath where you finally consent? From the beginning of this journey, one promise has echoed, that beyond assumption, beyond calmness, beyond the art of prayer, there exists a higher secret, the power to collapse time itself. You have felt it whispering, waiting, and now the veil lifts. Neville Goddard declared, "The future is not ahead of you. It is here now, waiting to be occupied. Time, as you know it, is only the measure of your unwillingness to accept. The moment you assume the end as present fact, not future hope, time dissolves. There is no distance between you and your desire. There is only the state you occupy. And states are not reached by struggle. They are entered by consent. Here is the secret. When you assume with such intensity that you no longer check, no longer wait, no longer measure, you have collapsed time. When you feel the wish fulfilled so completely that you forget the desire ever existed, because to you it is already fact, you enter the timeless. And in that timeless state, manifestation is not coming, it is. This is why Neville said, "The perfectly disciplined man lives in the wish as an accomplished fact." He is not straining. He is not asking. He is not watching the clock. He is resting. He is calm. He is. Delay is nothing more than your mind's refusal to accept the gift. The moment you accept, deeply, without condition, without negotiation, the delay dissolves. Think of it. How long does it take for a mirror to reflect? Instantly. How long does it take for a seed already planted to sprout once the conditions are fully present? Instantly. So it is with assumption. When the feeling is complete, when the identity is worn, when the calmness is total, the world reflects without delay. Here is how you collapse time. Assume with finality. Not I will, not one day, simply I am. Feel it natural, not as fantasy, but as obviousness, as though it could not be otherwise. Release the weight. Stop measuring, stop checking. Live as though it were finished, because in imagination it already is. Do this and you will see. What you want wants you so fiercely that it must appear. And when you live this way, watch how life rearranges itself. The phone rings. A stranger speaks. A forgotten opportunity reappears. Some call it coincidence. Neville called it obedience. The world is not mocking you, it is mirroring you. And once you collapse time, the mirror reflects instantly. So now, the revelation stands before you. Assumptions harden into fact, not in time, but outside of time. The instant you dare to assume your wish fulfilled, fully, naturally, without hesitation, time bows. Delay dissolves. What you want is yours, now.
This is the crown principle, the key, Neville whispered. Creation is finished. You are not waiting for manifestation. Manifestation is waiting for you to accept. And when you accept fully, completely, the stage of life has no choice but to obey. If these words stirred something deep in you, if you felt the shift, the remembering, then I invite you to step further. Become part of our inner circle. Join as a channel member and gain early access to future narrations like this one, crafted with precision to keep you aligned in Neville's teachings. The link is in the description below. Your journey is sacred, your assumption is law, and your destiny is already written in imagination. Together, let us walk in remembrance. Now, breathe deeply. Feel the wish fulfilled. Whisper softly, I am. Let the calm descend like a crown upon your head. Let the world rearrange itself at your feet. And remember, you are not chasing, you are not waiting, you are not lacking, you are the end now. Assumptions harden into fact, time collapses, and what you want is already yours. If you dared to live today as though it were already done, how quickly would the world bow to your assumption?
All right, and we're back. That is the end of that audio, that lesson from Neville's teaching, done by way of AI. Very well done and well articulated, easy to understand. And today's topic derived from that, and that is your faith begins when your struggle to manifest ends. What struggle? When you're trying to use the conscious mind to find out how it's going to happen. That is struggling. When you're looking around and you see difficulties around you see the economy is struggling, you see the economy is slowed down, you see jobs closing, you see business closing, you see people doing less or spending less. You see it all around you. You hear people with the complaints. You see it on the news, local news, general news, you're just aware of it all around. And you may have had or have a particular desire or, idea in mind doing all this time, and it just looked like it's not possible because there's so much going on, because you're now using your five senses to attend to all of what's going on rather than going within and only attend to your heart's desire. As I mentioned before, sovereign mind. Be sovereign so that all of what's going on out there has no bearing on you. It's not affecting you. You are in your own world. In your world, your economy is great. Everything is good in your world. In your world is completely abundant, always. Because your world is not 3D. Your world is the Father within you. Your world is consciousness, where everything comes from. So if you remain in that sovereignty, or that sovereign mind, or sovereign thinking, then you will look around at what's going on and just laugh. And people will think you're not a realist, as they would say. You're not a realist, you don't see the reality of what's going on. And they would think that you're crazy because they will say you're living in a different world, and they would be right. Or they would say, what world are you living in? Don't you see what's going on? I'm aware of what's going on, but I don't see it. I see what I want to see. I say what I say it is, what I say it is. Nothing is fixed, nothing is fact. Your assumption is above facts. Fact is just a rerun of past imaginations. But your assumption is farther above that. Your assumption rules over any facts that you're experiencing right now or that you're seeing going on right now. Nothing beats your assumption unless you give it power over your assumption.
Yeah, Sir Chris.
Yes, certainly.
The thing that you're actually seeing as a fact right now and calling it a fact, those are just past assumptions, you know. Those are just things that you accepted, that you accepted in the past. You know, you assumed those things to be a fact in the past. That's why they are a fact in your life right now.
That's why. Right.
So assumption, there is nothing more powerful than your present assumption. Whatever you're assuming now.
Yes.
Because whatever you're assuming now is that's a preview to tomorrow's movie.
That's right. The common attraction.
Yeah.
That's right. You're always right in that movie, right? Whether consciously or unconsciously. Insert it.
Yeah, that's it, precisely.
And we write those movies mostly unconsciously.
Yes.
And that's why when we see some so-called fact pops up, we don't recognize our harvest. Yeah, we don't recognize the harvest and we don't realize that. If we realize that it was our past assumption, as you just stated, that has created this current experience, though even though we don't recognize it, but we are aware that at some point it was an assumption, an imaginal act, a contemplation, a feeling. If we realize that, then now we have to do what you're saying, Serti. All we have to do is just assume, because the present assumption is above the current experience, though it was caused by an assumption of some kind in the past.
Yeah, but the present assumption is always more powerful than the past assumption, because the past assumption is already being played out. The present assumption can cancel that past assumption.
The present assumption edits.
Correct.
It edits the current experience.
Exactly.
You know, this on WhatsApp now, you can edit. You can edit a message, right? Certainly, on WhatsApp right now, you can edit a message that you previously wrote. And notice, you can only edit something that was previous to the edition that you have right now. So you go back to it and you make it say what you wanted it to say. You understand? And that's exactly what we're doing with our consciousness. When we're experiencing something right now, it's an edition that we had written previously, though it be in most of the time, we were unaware that we wrote it. It was just unconscious, interference or influence. And nonetheless, your consciousness does not reject or restrict anything that you have. Your consciousness is your own constitution that does not stop you from having your freedom of thought, whether it be good, bad, or indifferent. You are free to think what you want to think, imagine what you want to imagine. However, consequences comes with those imaginal acts. They are either going to be good, bad, or indifferent consequences based on, and it has to match up like begot like. So you cannot plant a bad tree and get good fruit, or plant a good tree and get bad fruit. You understand? Bad tree bear bad fruit, good tree bear good fruit. It will not be mixed up. It's not possible. it has to relate. It has to have the, what you call the law of correspondence will come into play. The law of cause and effect, sowing and reaping. You understand? So it is very elementary, very easy to understand that your past assumptions is bringing today's results. Today's results were a result of your past assumptions, and it is so wonderful. That's the truth, because now, as we're saying here, your present assumption, the new assumption, will override the past. It is the new editor. It will go back in now and edit the present experience. As Serti said earlier, he was saying his wife was reporting to him that she had her foot was hurting, but he re-edited what she said by saying, no, it was. Only thing he changed was the word was, Everything else was still there. Imagine that. That is a major change, Though it be one word or one condition that you're changing, whether it be adding or adding something to it or subtracting from it. But you've just put that experience that she was having in the past in your own mind until you got her to accept it as well and say, you're right, it was. So now the two agree. You understand? So now she's agreeing with her present assumption rather than the past assumption, which she said, I am hurting, or my foot is hurting. Because when the two agree, it is either you agreeing with your past and it replays your past your whatever experience you're having now. If you agree with it, it's a past assumption that you agree with again. And so it comes again. It perpetuates, And if it's something that you want to experience rather than what you're having now, you come up with a new assumption. And then you agree no with the assumption. The present assumption, you agree with it. So now the two agrees right there again and supersedes the experience that you're having right now. It is not going to negate the fact that you experienced it, but it's going to rearrange your coming attraction is going to rearrange what you're having now and rearrange it to what you're going to experience, what you will see instead. Even though you're having the experience now, as you rearrange in your mind what you're experiencing now, the rearrangement will be shown, ahead of you. You will come upon it. The two of you will meet and greet. What you're doing presently is you're putting it ahead of you to meet up with it. But you're doing it right now. It is going to be something that you will experience, but you have to have the experience now. If you have the experience now in mind, you will have the experience in time. You will have the experience down the road. The two of you will meet because you agreed that this is the experience that you're having right now. Despite the so-called facts or evidence of the five senses that you are having a different experience rather than the one that you are now assuming. And that is the trick. The trick is to remain sovereign. Know that you are always not the experience. You are never the experience. Okay? You are what caused the experience, but you are not the experience. Therefore, you can uncause the experience. You can create a new experience that will supersede the one that you caused at some previous time. Oftentimes, we identify with what we're going through, and so we perpetuate it. We replay it over. It's like a loop. You know how you have on YouTube, you can have you can loop your playlist where it plays over and over and over, or you can just play it one time, and when it reaches the end, it's done. But what we have done, we have gone in and set our playlist on loop or repeat play, as they used to call it. Okay, and you don't realize, if you don't realize that's what you did, and you wonder why the same song keep playing. Either you repeat the same song or you repeat the list of songs. Maybe you have 1 hour worth of songs, and every hour it repeats from the top. And sometimes you accidentally repeat one song and don't realize it. And that's what we have also done with our consciousness. We repeat experiences over and over, not realizing that we are the cause. Why? Because we think we are the experience. And then we identify with the experience, we become the experience, we start to feel like the experience, literally, thereby, as we said earlier, your subconscious mind operates by feeling. It feels your energy, your vibration. And your vibration is very intense. It's even worse. The more intense it is the more often it's going to repeat, or the sooner it will repeat again. And you find yourself cannot escape out of this, this loop. You can't escape it. It feels like you're trapped and can't move forward. But all you have to do is identify that you, being consciousness, is the cause. And if you caused it, you can undo it. This is why only you can edit your own message that you wrote, because you are the cause. Nobody else can do it for you. So you have to go in and recognize what you did, so you can get out of that loop or that rerun, that repetition. And the same thing goes for if it's a great experience, you can loop that. That's the control you have. You can loop the experience that is great and make sure that the ones that are not great, that these are dissolved. Don't stay married to those. Don't stay married to those things. Dissolve that. Because everything is a marriage, Everything is a two agree. Anything we experience is a marriage. It's you marrying the experience. You consciousness having the feeling of a particular experience. Once you have the feeling, you're married to it. But you can always dissolve it by detaching yourself, detaching the feeling, and obtaining and sustaining a new feeling going forward. And that's how you dissolve it. You dissolve it and you get married to another better experience. Okay? So, as we said today, guys, your faith begins when your struggle to manifest ends. When you stop using the conscious mind to force to find out how things are going to happen and start using the subconscious. The subconscious is the mind of faith. It's one track. It does not know no. Everything is yes to it. It doesn't have any such thing as doubt. It does not doubt anything, fear anything. Everything to the subconscious is possible. So it's the mind of faith because it does not question. It will make a way out of no way. Okay? So just be aware of that. And, our manifestation goals and dreams and aspirations, all these different things will come to us rather effortlessly, and organically. No force, no effort, just natural. And this year, as we've been focusing on getting better at sharpening our imagination and so on and so forth, the sharpening of the imagination is to make everything that we desire, whatever it may be, or imagine, make it feel natural. Then when things feel natural to the mind, it happens effortlessly, so easily. When it feels unnatural, meaning there's a limitation of some kind, there's a restriction, there's a resistance of some kind, then it is by force, and you're trying to force it. It's like trying to force something bigger into something that's small. It's not gonna work. They have to be compatible. You can't put something small into something big, but you can't put anything big into something small. It won't fit. And I think that's what we try to do when we struggle with manifesting, is maybe our programmed consciousness, our programmed subconscious will not accept anything that we think is out of reach based on how we had programmed our subconscious mind, whether knowingly or unknowingly. So we find it hard to accept. In other words, if they tell you you will one day own a department store or own, a business making $1 million a year, you might not have the consciousness to accept that, because maybe you're used to making 50,000 a year or 100,000 a year, or just used to working a job. So you can't see yourself as an owner of any kind. You're not on that. And so your mind, your conscious mind will fight, not the subconscious, but the conscious mind will fight with that reality. There'll be a tug of war between the subconscious that is fearful always. It will be an argument between the two. But when the two agrees, when your mind agrees with what the subconscious believes or what the subconscious accepts, when your conscious mind, which has to be the first mind that accepts the thing you desire, once you accept it, you have now the subconscious also accepts it with you. You have to accept it first, then the subconscious, because the subconscious already accepted already. But it cannot move forward without your authority. The scripture says, I'm ever knocking at the door for you to open. Your desires, everything is already there knocking. I just you to open the door. The subconscious is already there with the desire in hand. It's just for you to open the door to accept the present, accept the desire. But we struggle with that. And I saw a movie recently. What name again? What movie name? But it's a movie where the guys they became vampires. If you guys can help me with this movie, it's Michael B. Jordan is in it. He's a twin, and so anyways, when the vampires come to the door, they won't come in unless you let them in, and it is very I would say on the same level of consciousness where it will always come to the door, but it's not going to come in unless you open the door and let it in. They came to the door and they will not come inside the house, even though they're vampires. And interestingly, vampires, are, they're not real in the sense, but they have a relatable meaning to them in terms of your consciousness. Because with vampires, they don't get old, they can't die, and stuff like that. And your consciousness does not get old, cannot die. It's forever young. You can also call it the old man or whatever, because it's been around for so long. So you can play around with it like that. But in a sense, it's has no beginning, no end. But it will not come into the house until you open the door to let it in. It's always asking to come in, but it will not come in until you say, all right, come on in. And that's where we struggle, because our mind, the conscious mind, needs to know how. All we need to know is why we need something and when we need it. And we're not supposed to worry about how it's going to happen or if and where. It's already happened as far as you're concerned. You just have to sit and wait. Order and wait, as Neville says. Sarati, any final words before we move on? I think you said you got busy or got caught up with something. All right, looks like Sarati busy. So yes, my fellow minds, my fellow Elohim, thank you guys for joining, for being here with us another sunny someday to continue this journey of evolution of our consciousness. Our consciousness is going through an evolutionary process. It comes unconditioned, and we have to condition it. We have to make it what we want it to be. It's not going to just do for you just like that. You have to be the one to condition your consciousness, though it is everything and has everything. And that is the interesting dichotomy. You have to give it human parentage. Okay? That's just how it works. It's all powerful, but it's only as powerful as you believe it to be. All right? It's all up to you. And that's interesting to know and good to know. That's it, guys. Thank you for being here. Love you all. And we'll see you again next week, Sunday, or someday, to talk up the things again on another episode of The One Great I Am Awakening. Love you all. Enjoy your Sunday.